This video is going to be different. I want to talk about the state of this game's PvP and how it can affect things moving forward. The gameplay footage that you see is of my S-rank promotion phase in the very first season of ranked PvP. And I want you to pay close attention to the meta back then and how it compares now, and see how different it is, if at all. Honestly, I had footage of just going up against non-stop missile rat builds, but I felt like that would have been extremely repetitive, and I wanted to spare you all that. With that said, let's get right to it. As of the time that this video goes live, it's May 17th, and as most of you may know, it's the start of a new ranked PvP season for Armored Core 6. However, there's no new balance update, nothing new being added. It is simply a rank reset. That's it. Not even so much as an update to the map rotation, which this game desperately needs, and I'll get to later. But the biggest cause for concern in this new season, and the lack of a balance update, is the fact that the meta has been established. Everyone knows what's good, what isn't, and going into this season, you're pretty much just going to face more of the same. It's simply a repeat of last season. Let's be honest with ourselves. What new, exciting build can we expect to see? Honestly, I can't really think of anything. You're going to see the same thing over and over again, and that certainly doesn't contribute to the longevity of this game's PvP. This becomes an even bigger problem if you take into account that there's only one active ranked mode out of the two available. 1 versus 1, as far as I'm aware, is the only mode that you don't have problems finding games with across all platforms. 3 versus 3 is just dead in the water. I can't even find a match anymore. It's that bad. And they're not doing anything to adjust it, like allow players to group up with friends or random players, which is a damn shame, because I do really enjoy that mode. I even did a video covering a bit of a workaround that allows you to group up with your friends. However, it makes no difference if the mode is in a state of limbo until From Software decides to make any sort of adjustments to it. So if the only thing keeping ranked alive is 1 versus 1, and there's no balance changes, no map rotations, what is going to keep people from playing the same thing over and over again? It's not very enticing going into a game knowing exactly what to expect, especially when it's supposed to be, quote-unquote, a new season. It's really going to be the last season all over again until they decide to finally update something. But who knows when that's going to be, and by then it might already be too late. I say this because I want the multiplayer to thrive, and while 1.06 was a step in the right direction, it still left much to be desired in terms of the game's overall balance, and to leave things as they are would be a huge mistake. Just the other day I was trying out a new build because I remembered one of the parts that got updated in 1.06 was one I've been meaning to try out, and what did I end up going against? A missile rat, a dual Zimmerman heavy build, another missile rat, and another missile rat, oh, and another missile rat. So if I'm just going to expect the same thing in this season, why would I bother trying to reach S rank again? Let alone making the top 100 like I did previously, because that's even more difficult. It seems like most people share this sentiment too, because the community has been very vocal about the lack of changes in this season, choosing to either walk away from PvP or put the game down altogether. But there is something that can be done about this. The simplest thing that I can think of, and I've mentioned it a couple of times already, is to introduce map rotations. There are so many maps they already came out with in this game that they could easily just switch it up every now and then. And you'd be surprised how much of a difference this can make. If you go in a custom lobby, for example, Every time a map is switched out, you'll notice different kinds of builds taking the forefront. And that's because the maps cater to certain builds. So if you see open maps all the time like we currently do, you're going to see missile builds everywhere. On the other hand, a closed off map will encourage more melee oriented builds to take the spotlight. Anything that encourages players to try different things is better than having everyone stick to the same old. Now, does this mean that I'm done with Armored Core 6 and PvP? Absolutely not. I still enjoy it, despite all the flaws. I will be shifting my focus though. While I will still be playing ranked, I don't really have that drive to reach S rank again, as I mentioned earlier. I will instead be focusing on what I've been calling the Armored Core Unleashed series, where I'll be recreating builds from previous Armored Core titles and seeing how they handle the ranked mode in this game. It's been a breath of fresh air for me because it really pushes me to try something different, and it's also been interesting to see the results of how some of these builds can either hold up against what's considered meta or just fumble altogether. I've had one or two builds that have been trying behind the scenes and they just cannot seem to work no matter what I do. As long as I enjoy playing the game and you all enjoy watching it, that's what's important. Also, I will be playing the new Elden Ring DLC when it comes out on day 1, and will hopefully be recording with some friends too. I hope you all look forward to that because I am super excited. Been waiting a long time for it, like I'm sure everyone else has, so it'll be a lot of fun for sure. I wish this game had some form of official co-op, I really do. Either it be mission-based, or a raid system, a horde mode, something, because this game would benefit tremendously from it. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. This game only has single player and PvP. Imagine how much more life this game would have if there was some kind of a cooperative aspect to it. I know they said from the beginning they wanted the single player to make you feel like a lone mercenary, and they definitely accomplished that. However, I feel like in a game where you play as a mercenary hired by corporations to achieve certain objectives, often with the aid of other mercenaries, feels like a missed opportunity to not have other players being able to group up together to just share the experience and see how the story unfolds. I really hope they consider implementing it either in Armored Core 6.5 or 7, depending on the sequel route they decide to go with, or even DLC, because anything's possible at this point. These are my thoughts on the state of PvP and what I want to see from the game, because there is certainly room for improvement. I think we can all agree on that. And it deserves it because this game has the biggest following in the entire series. I know I've played through all of them and I'm just blown away by how much this community has grown since Armored Core 6 first came out. It's truly amazing, and I'm glad From Software brought Armored Core back after such a long hiatus. Trust me, I had my doubts that they were even going to consider revisiting Armored Core. After the massive success of the Soulsborne franchise, it made sense for them to focus primarily on that. But here we are, and I'm glad Armored Core is back, bigger than ever, and I want to see where they go from this point onward. I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about. Please, if you enjoyed this, like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. I really do appreciate it. And let me know, do you agree with my points, and what would you change about Armored Core 6's PvP? Until next time, take care.